every time I make a video, I do music right before. So there's a song comes to me.
Come on people, now smile on your brother by Turksis. Playing on Spotify.
I have this music on so that it gets me into the vibe of whatever the song is. Is this the right version? Sounds like an off-brand. Okay, that sounds like Jackie Chan. Sounds like Jackie Chan is singing it in karaoke or something. There's a fire starting in my heart. And the Google and I ended up having this fight, basically. Come on, people, now smile on your brother by... Who's it by?
Come on, people, now smile on your brother by Turksis.
Okay, Google, no!
Here it is on Spotify.
Not that guy again. It's the same guy. Stop.
Sorry, I don't understand.
I know you don't. Stop. Google.
Check out this Get Together station on YouTube Music.
No. I'm having a fight with Google right now. Google. We're going back and forth, and I said, I want this song, and it's like, no, you're gonna listen to this.
Check out this Get Together station on YouTube Music.
Okay, Google, stop. That was my fault. Oh, that's a rad song, though. This is not what I wanted you to do. The Google played a song that I hadn't even thought of. I haven't even thought of in so long. And I ended up knowing almost all the words to that song. These eyes are crying. It's like, how is that? How do we keep these things in our minds? I don't even know, but... It gets a little angry at the end. That was good. Thanks, Google. Google and I resolved our differences. Anyway. This is just how it's gone. It's just going like that, you know? How do you feel right now? I'm just curious how you're doing. Because on this end, this full moon coming in on September 29th really is just a marker of that feeling. It's complex. It's a complicated time. It's a complicated time in general, but why is this full moon specifically complicated? Okay, I'm going to tell you why. It's because there's a ton of debilitation. Debilitation of the planets that are involved and the planets that are ruling this full moon. What is debilitation? Quickly, in ancient astrology, the debilitation has to do with the essential dignity scheme. It means that there are signs where planets are home and they're comfortable, and there's signs where planets are even more than comfortable. They're exalted. And then on the other opposite equal end, there are places where those planets are not comfortable. They are not at home. They're in exile. They're far away from possible from home. And then on the other side of exalted, they're in their fall. Like so, down and out in Beverly Hills, like down and out. Not the best place for them to be, to express themselves in their natural, preferred way. Any full moon is an exercise of integration of polarity or duality, because the moon reflects the light of the sun. So these are the two, this is the one opposition that doesn't feel like it's a struggle. Okay, so let's look at the two teams. We have an Aries team and we have a Libra team. So first, the Libra team, that's Sun, Mars, and the South Node. Now, the Sun is in Libra, it's technically in its fall, which just means that it's not at its full strength as it would be in Aries, where it's like coming through like nuclear powerhouse. And this is just a place where the Sun is less strong in that I am kind of power pushing forward. So it's not bad. In fact, I think that exile and fall planets are really wonderful and beautiful because they express differently, and that's just not where they're comfortable, but it's necessary to have that expression on that spectrum of our existence. So I'm going to go further into that a little bit later. Next, we have Mars. Mars is the ruler of this full moon in Aries, and it's in Libra, which means it's in exile because Mars loves to be over in Aries. It's one of its home signs. It's in its polar opposite sign. So if you think about that, that could be pretty uncomfortable. Thinking about being in your own home where you know where everything is, you can get a drink of water whenever you want or whatever you want to drink. And if you're in another completely different culture, a different house that you're not comfortable in, you might not know where anything is. You might not know how the customs are or even how to speak the language. It could be uncomfortable. You're still you, but you have a filter on you where you're not as free to be comfortable in your own home. So that's what it means to be in exile. So Mars in Libra, it still brings that warrior energy, but it's a different flavor of warrior, which I'll talk about that more in a minute too. The third thing here is our South Node in Libra. And that represents a point of necessary release. And that can be hard, of course, letting go of things is hard, but there's also a freedom in release and letting go. That just strikes me like minimalism. I don't know, I had a minimalism phase where I used to have so much stuff. Oh man. And then I just went full minimalist and got rid of, I had thousands of books, so many things. And, now what you see is what I've got. That's pretty much it. So minimalism is a little bit of a Mars and Libra kind of thing. Just having the balance, just having just what's just right, I think. Anyway, that was a digression. Freedom of letting go. That's why I was talking about that. On the other side, we have the Aries team. Team Aries is Moon, North Node, and Chiron. The Moon in Aries is not in any specific dignity, but the essence of the Moon is emotional comfort. And Aries is a place of the warrior. It's that pioneering spirit. And when you think just about being a pioneer, it is really the probably least comfortable thing I can think of, being like an Oregon Trail pioneer. That game that was really popular in the 80s, the Oregon Trail. We had to play it when we were kids, like in school. They made us play it. And I think that was part to understand deeply the pioneering life is not for the weak. One day, you're untangling the oxen, everything's fine. The next day, dysentery takes you out. It's not comfortable. Not at all. Planets in Aries tend to be ready for action. They're ready to go into battle. And the moon's not aspecting any other planet but the sun, which is interesting. So there's no other opinions coming into the moon. It's just like, I'm looking right at you, sun. What you got for me? And it's very focused. It's a very clear moon. To me, this feels like a mama bear energy, ready to fight for her cubs, to protect them, to heal them, to go into battle. And she'll do this because it's right, because it's fair. It's the right thing to do. Mars and the sun, we've got the domicile ruler and the exaltation ruler of Aries on the other side. So they're sending the moon this playbook from Libra, which is about fighting for justice. The North Node is also in Aries, and that makes things bigger. Anytime the North Node's near, it just makes things expanded. The thing to remember here is that there isn't a single truth. There isn't. There are many truths. And the challenge that comes up is that people believe that there is only one, and they become dogmatic or myopic, and that only is the only truth that's possible, and everybody needs to believe it. But if that was the thing that happened, imagine how off-balanced everything would be. Everybody'd believe the same thing, and that wouldn't bring very much balance into the world, because it's just Newton's law applies pretty much to everything. For every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. That's just how the world works. We don't have to agree with each other. There's always going to be somebody that's going to disagree with us or not like us, and there needs to be space and balance for that. Because multiple views bring opportunity. That's where the truth is. Yeah, in multiple facets of the jewel. People tend to forget Chiron, and that's okay. He's fine with it. Well, technically he's not really fine, right? Because he's got this wound that won't heal up. But other than that, Chiron's stoic. Chiron is here to point out how a battle wound or a wound can actually be a strength and a power, eventually, if you let it be, and not just let it fester, So Chiron brings in another layer of compassion to that warrior pioneer vibe. Chiron would be the one to help you cross the river, that Oregon River, with your wagon. Get you across that river, no problem, help you out. There's an epidemic of disconnection in our society, loneliness in this world that's happening right now. Depression, anxiety, feelings of overwhelming meaninglessness. One way to combat separation is to find places where you can connect with others through community. That's been weighing heavy on my heart, how to connect, how to share. And so because of that, I've just started a communication practice through email, very consciously trying to put that into my practice and connect outside of this platform, because this platform's great and everything, but it doesn't always serve the greater good. It serves itself. So no offense. Don't get mad at me, algorithm. You're fine. I love you. No. So I'm just sending out an email. I know it's still technology though, but anyway, it's on our own terms. It's 6 things that I find bring me value or joy or some sort of emotional feeling, and I want to share that with you. And I'm doing that in hopes to connect in a way that brings value and builds community. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to be on that email with me, it's in the description below if you want to click the link and check it out. I'm excited about it. I hope you like it. But back to the full moon. This full moon is not a light one, not at all, but it's a necessary one. That's part of life. It's a confusing time that we're in. This is a stark division. There's need, there's a wound. There are people in pain. There are people that have like lost everything. There's a literal war going on, you know? The old fights though are getting a little bit old. It's getting a little bit threadbare. The things we've been fed about our differences, the things that we're encouraged to believe about each other and our world, that makes us feel like enemies, that keeps us fighting and hating each other, hating our neighbors. And it's like just feeding a fire. That's the real enemy. That's separation. In coming together, it doesn't mean we all have to be the same. That's the thing that people don't quite understand. We can have completely different opinions on something, or beliefs, or spiritual practices, or whatever. It doesn't matter. But the fact that we hate each other for it is the problem. Yeah. So this full moon can highlight a different path, a peaceful resolution, some mediation here. Mars in exile in Libra has a superpower, and that superpower is to fight for an active peace, actively fighting for equilibrium and sacrificing for balance. Mars in Libra energy, it's not going to go straight to the battle. It's going to be more rational. It's going to attempt to bring a peaceful resolution to arguments. One really helpful aspect in this full moon is between Mars and Venus. Mars is sextile, the ruler of Libra, and that's his lover, his counterpart. That's Venus, and Venus is in Leo. This sextile aspect is a very stimulating one, and Mars and Venus really know how to stimulate each other in the best way possible. Yeah, sextile is good between these two. Whew. Anyway, there's a duet between Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney that came out in the 80s. It's called The Girl Is Mine. They're fighting over a girl, and at one point Michael Jackson says, "I'm a lover, not a fighter." And I just thought it was super funny as a kid, but the energy of "I'm a lover, not a fighter" is okay, but sometimes we need to fight for love. Things may feel very emotionally charged for you right now. You might be working really, really hard and having a lot of feelings about that, and maybe burning the candle at both ends and wondering where your energy is going. What I'm trying to say is that pushing super hard right now might not be the move. Taking a little break if you need to. Find some space to take your breaks, because you're gonna feel like pushing. It's gonna be an emotional connection to that battle of life. Like, I gotta keep going. But finding that sweet space too, where it's not just push, but I don't know, balanced with something a little more muted, not so bright. I said earlier that I really like Mars in Libra, and I really like the Sun in Libra, and they're technically debilitated, like badly, majorly. And why do I like it? I like it because that's when these two planets are in an integration with their dualistic opposite, and that makes them more whole. It makes them closer to the closed Ouroboros, to the closed infinity loop, and more dynamic in their expression. Sun in Libra energy is spread out, diffused. That's the sunset. If you think about how beautiful that light is, that's Sun in Libra. It's that beautiful moment. It's the golden hour. That's what Libra Sun is, golden hour. It's an inviting, comfortable warmth. It's a transitional space. It's not weakened. It's just a place where two can meld together. Two things can meld. The sun and the sky melt together. And it's not boiling or burning or pushing hard, but it's a golden hour energy. That's why I like it. Mars in Libra is so much more able to let there be more than one winner. It doesn't have to just be one winner. There can be more than one. That's Mars in Libra. Sabian symbol analysis. Let's go. Okay, this one was very exciting to see because it flows so perfectly with all the other things that we've been looking at here. And the first one is the moon coming in from Mama Bear powerhouse Aries energy. It's Aries 7, woman feeding chickens and protecting them from the hawks. This is a guarding against the attacks. Very Mama Bear. Taking responsibility for whatever is within our care. I'll read to you what Burgess says about this degree. A mind clear enough to recreate is a passionate force in the world and must necessarily generate an equal and opposite force of resistance, which will attempt to thwart its purposes at any means possible. Hence, the likes of Jesus, Gandhi, and Luther King are strongly resisted, yet also Hitler, Stalin, and Pol Pot. We must guard against these opposition forces, which very often take the form of collective disgruntlement and confused non-cooperation rather than honorable challenges. Yeah, so we got to guard against that. That is just spot on for this energy that I'm talking about right here. Yeah, it seems like the downfall is collective disgruntlement. Just being angry and being a talking head and just saying things and not really doing anything and not taking on the honorable path and acceptance that there are different people in the world, and that's okay. The sun brings in some balance from Libra, and that is degree 7 Libra, a man successfully expressing himself in 2 realms at once. I really like that one. Libra 7 is a cool one. Living on both sides of each situation, waking up to life's inherent polarities and possibilities. Another good one for our theme here, huh? Here's what Burgess says. In contrast to our single-pointedness and willingness to fit in is our ability and capacity to hold alive the vibrance of 2 polarities of life, each of which brings joy. Taken together, they explain the complexity of our human experience and our relationship to such dualities as spiritual, material, self and community, magical and religious. Taking those 2 ideas, the woman feeding her chickens, protecting from the hawks, and the man expressing himself, the duality of expressing in 2 places at once. The masculine and the feminine are represented in these 2 symbols. And they balance each other as well. These figures are representatives of the energies. The moon's a mama bear, a farmer protecting her flock from the hawks. Everything wants to eat chickens, I swear, everything. And the sun is bringing in a light to the possibility of awakening to that inherent duality. How do we bring balance into our lives? How do we have conversations with others that are intent on staying in that place of fearfulness and discontent? How can we be peaceful and rational internally and deal with that? Life is a series of facets of the jewel, right? Just keep shining one off, and friction shines this one, shines that one. Clean it, keep working on it, working on that garden. 6 months ago, something kind of unique happened. We had 2 new moons in Aries. We had one in March, and then we had one in April. And that one in April was the partial solar eclipse, and it was the one that ushered in our new polarity axis for the nodes, the Aries-Libra polarity. And so we still have this year a little bit of the Scorpio-Taurus finishing up, and next year will be full on Aries and Libra. So that energy is worth knowing about. This full moon in Aries then is the first illumination point, where the seeds that you set or things that were happening in the world about 6 months ago are starting to come to light, the truth, and things that are put into motion during that time are coming to light during this period, the illumination. Oh, yeah, one more thing I can say about this. This is the last supermoon. So there were 4 supermoons in a row. So astronomically, it's the last supermoon of the year. They call it supermoon summer. So this is the last one. So if you want to see, so when the moon is the closest to Earth, I think it's called perigee or perigee, something like that. Don't quote me on it. But anyway, it's the last supermoon. Take some time to be under the moonlight. That's kind of beautiful. Super moonlight. Okay, that's all I've got. I like you just the way you are, and I'll talk to you next time.